All right, so this is a video about release 5 of Glitter IDE. So if you watched my previous video about code generation, you'll be aware that I have been working on some back-end stuff, which is why I haven't done too much recently. Released too much, but I've been doing a lot of work on the back end. But I have made a new update to keep things going. So this version mainly has a few bug fixes and one new feature, which I'm going to talk about in this video. So the bug features were just some language features and an image, a couple of image editor. Quirks, there's still quite a few little quirks hidden away. But we're going to make a new project and we're going to use this Sprite sheet tool. So the new tool is a Sprite sheet tool. You can click over here. This is where you open things. So it looks like this. It is what it is. This is just the first version, so it will get better with time. So you can click on the open sheet. So what does the Sprite sheet look like? Well, I will open one up. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so this is a Sprite sheet for this is for Dizzy Dizzy were some games from the 80s and 90s for vintage computers. So here is this is what a Sprite sheet looks like, and so you get them if you go to the Sprite Sheeters resource or whatever. There's like a website. These are quite easy to find for many vintage games, but they usually come in a single image like this, where you've got all the frames organized roughly like this. There is going to be something obvious that I need to add in future versions, but for now we'll just go with what we've got. So you can click on open sheet. I'm not going to do that because I forgot to add in the folder preferences for it. So there is no folder preference. So it's going to load on my desktop. I don't want to show what's going down with my desktop. So I'll just click back on it. I'm just going to go to the recent files, and then I am just going to pick a random one. I'm going to do this one. So these are the images from Dizzy. I've done this before, so it's remembered my previous setup. I've looked at this. So if you go to the recents menu, you can pick one of your recent ones and it will remember your previous settings, mostly, some of them. So how does it work? Well, you've got you've got a red and a green square that you can move around, and you use that to put a square around the first frame in your sequence. There's a few quirks, as you're going to see. So if you go outside the thing, this will go red, which means that doesn't work. So you have to have it within the box area, and then we can put it there. So here we want to try and do 6 frames. So I want this lot, but you can see that it's kind of hard. So the trick with this thing, it's not too bad for this one, is that it assumes everything is equally spaced. And more complicated animations, that's not actually true in lots of Sprite sheets. So later versions you'll be able to adjust later columns so that they fit better. But in this case here, it doesn't. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is typical. There is a slight bug in it. I thought it had gone, to be honest. But it's back again. That's amazing. So sometimes the preview image does not show up, or it shows up corrupted. And in that case, you kind of have to zoom in. It's an annoying little bug because I've had great difficulty getting it to occur on a consistent fashion. That's interesting, actually. It didn't do that before. But anyway, pretend that the preview always works, even if you haven't got the if it doesn't show up, you have to zoom in so that the whole image is within the box. I kind of get why it's happening, but I can't find that error. But anyway, the point is you do this, and then you highlight your 6 little boxes, and you can see the preview here. You can change the frames per second, so you can go. It would look cooler if. Oh, I think I know what I did. No, I don't know what I did. All right. There are a few, anyway, the idea. So there's some manual fine tuning of these 2 coordinates here. That honestly doesn't matter. I'm impressed that I managed to get that to be off there. So there's a few issues. We'll fix them in the later versions. Anyway, it's got that. You can change the row counts. You can add in so more rows. But that doesn't make any sense. Or 1 row. You can turn off the auto build. So then you can. What happens is auto build just means that when you change the coordinates, it changes the picture down here. It takes a small amount of time and a bit of work to generate these images because they get confused between different formats. So in this version, because I haven't optimized things, you can turn that off and you have to click on build frames manually. Doesn't matter. That's just for the preview. So, well, that's quite clever. So here you have 2 options down the bottom. All right, okay. Next option is this background color. So as you can see, the sprite sheet comes in pink. So pink is the sort of like most of these sprite sheets. They don't use like transparent as the background. They use some set color that doesn't occur with any of the other sprites. And so, but you can see here it's stripped away the background. Oh my gosh. Stripped away the pink and made that transparent. And so this is the thing here so you can click on that and you can change it manually. If you want to pick a color, this is important. You move and you use the right mouse button. So if I click on that and if I go in, you'll see that now the background's actually pink, but the white has turned into transparent because that's the background color. So if I change it to red and zoom in again, you can see what's happening, but I want it to be pink. Normally it will be automatic. You won't have to care about this. It gets the background color from the top left-hand pixel. So whenever you load anything in, as long as that pixel is the background color, then this will automatically be set to the correct thing. Down here, if you have multiple projects, you've got to choose the target project. And then you have 2 options. You have add to a sprite. There are no sprites in this project. And then you can create a sprite. So we can call it car. And then we go create sprite. And then we go to the sprite list. You can now see that there is some cars, and then they're all in there for you, laid out and all done. And now if you go back to the sprite sheet tool, that doesn't get updated. That's nice. Oh my gosh. So many weird bugs. So it forgets to unhighlight this. So you can add that back in. All right, that's 2 bugs. But that will be for release number 6 because I've had enough of this. If you already have sprites in your project, it should work. If I go to here, so this is another one. This is the same sprite sheet. Are they both? Oh, they are the same sprite sheet. They're just in different locations. Okay, here's another sprite sheet. So we've got this guy, and then we're going to add them to car. So then we'll add to sprite car, and then if we go down to costumes, you'll find that now the names are not useful. You're going to have to go through and edit the names. And I've just noticed they're in the wrong order. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting. More and more quirks. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just to get a release out. So have fun. This is you can bulk clone things, but you can't do anything. This was a tool I added. It hasn't finished yet, so don't worry about that. And also, if you want to clone a sprite, I don't know if this was ever mentioned, but if you click on that and you go clone, it will put it at the end. So there's a clone of that sprite. Not a very useful cloning tool, but it's handy. So one day this little sidebar is going to get redone because it's a bit dodgy. But anyway, that is. Does it? See, it works here. You see what I mean? It's a weird little bug. So everything is fine for this image. You don't have to zoom in. But hopefully that's kind of useful. So the next steps in this next added tool, well, I want to add in animations. So animations are going to be, instead of having a sprite just having a whole bunch of costumes, there'll be a separate thing called animation list. So this might be an animation instead of adding them all to one costume and then having to write the code to do the animation. There'll be separate animation objects, and they will be those will be things you can use for the behavior sort of action framework as well. But what happened to that guy? I think it doesn't actually line up. So this is one of the annoying ones. If you zoom in on it, also there's no zoom option. There's no. You have to use the scroll wheel. So sorry, Mac users. Not that there's a Mac version yet, but I did buy a late model Intel Mac pretty cheap. So I will use that to just test out how well I can get it to work under a Mac and make it look better. And some point, because I probably have to get an Apple developer's license, release a Mac version as well. Hopefully I can, once I have a build that I know works on a Mac, I can borrow someone else's M1 M whatever based Mac to do an ARM version. But anyway, that's the general idea. So change the thing, choose your car, you can create things. So it doesn't actually check if the names are properly, so you can end up with multiple variable names being the same. But as I said, it's just a quick tool chucked in. But the next version hopefully have animals and as objects and tile sets as objects, and then hopefully we'll have some tile map editors, and I really want to have the ability to define text fonts like this, and then you can write text or have text objects that you can change using text fonts, which will basically use the same kind of infrastructure as the animations. And in the tile set case, this is just telling you what's going to happen in the future. This won't be a single image. This will be like all of the images at once, so you can edit across tiles, but you'll be able to see lines telling you which are which tiles, and so on. So I have lots of ideas, but also it's very soon time to add in some Commodore 64 stuff and bits and pieces. But also working on the background, hopefully very soon, to revamp the internal running device, which is this thing here, and the Scratch export to use better, faster versions, which will also allow me to add in local variables. So at some point you will be able to go flag int x equals 1 forever. So at the moment you can't do that. It will complain if you do that. Also, I can't spell the word forever. Not the most useful. Man, that was way off. Requires root level context. It's a bizarre error message that you get for this, but in the future this will actually work. And this gives is more powerful than it appears, because it will make the action script stuff more interesting. So, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully that makes some sense. Oh, the other thing with version release 5 is that it will now work on Linux, even though this is developed on Linux and I'm running it on Linux right this second. Turns out it doesn't copy across certain library files, so it works fine on my Linux machine, but it doesn't work on other Linux machines. So that's a bit annoying. But anyway, thanks again for watching, and bye. Oh, and please, 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 if you have any money, consider supporting this project by donating to like the Patreon or the coffee thing, or getting in contact with me on how to give me money, because I really have no money to do anything, and I'm poor and worried about the future, and I really want to keep working on this, and I don't want to use AI. So thanks for watching, and bye, or whatever.